And definitely it's 4 p.m. right here on our Farmers Media. This is the Farm Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibe, and definitely where we tell the story of an African farmer in the best way possible. And we are always about three vibes or three things, that is connect, learn, and grow. And so today we'll be discussing scarcity, or how scarcity of resources is the mother of farm planning. So details of that and much more will come in your way in a few. And also remember, we'll be having a fantastic finish of this show katika kile kipindi tunaita kipindi cha Lala Salama, and definitely watu wa Mombasa Road, we shall be giving you the traffic updates towards the tail end of this show. And definitely nimesema it's 4 p.m. and we apologize for starting a bit late. We usually start at 3 p.m. but tunajua technical issues zingine, they're out of nature, or sometimes they are unavoidable. All right, so we apologize for that. So to start off with the COVID updates, and here we have the cases that have been recorded worldwide as of today, that is the 6th of September, and the positive cases that have been received until today are at 221.5 million. That is 221,558,991. That is the positive cases. And the death toll currently is standing at 4,581,993. And the recoveries, the people who have recovered from COVID-19, that is 198,066,603 recoveries that have been recorded as of today, 6th of September. And so towards to the vaccines, just to give you an update of the numbers that have been recorded as of yesterday, that is the 5th of September 2021. This is in line from the Ministry of Health. They have only received 4.26 million doses. That is the doses they have received, but only 2.05 million have received their first dose. All right. And so the second dose, only 812,151 have received their second dose. And so the adults who have been vaccinated are 2.98. Okay? And so they received, the doses that have been received by the Ministry of Health are 4.26. And the people that have received their first dose are 2.05 million. And the second dose, 812,151. All right, and it's very shocking to see that the adults that have been vaccinated are only a percentage of 2.98. So if you're out there, remember, it's good to take this vaccine. It's free of charge and no one is forcing you to take it, but it's for your own health and also to protect the people that you love or the people around you. And remember, taking this vaccine, it's actually helping to reduce the spread of the virus by 95%. So it's good to actually take the vaccine. And now to our topic of today that we are talking about is scarcity of resources is the mother of farm planning. And so planning in general, okay? Planning in general is something that is in all industries. And so planning, basically everyone who is any industry, you're talking about business, any industry. You can talk about music, entertainment, and also here in agriculture. Planning, the key thing about planning is it serves as a blueprint to the future or for the future. Anytime you plan, there is a cliche or a cliche, I'll call it a cliche because it has been repeated so many times, says planning to fail is, what do they say? Failure to plan is planning to fail or something. I don't know how they say, but it's true, but it's a cliche. And all business undertakings, or everyone who is in business, undertakes a plan. They actually plan their production and marketing operations, talking about consciously in respect of how much. All right. So they plan their production, their marketing resources, how much to actually produce, and when to buy and sell, and where to actually buy and sell. So all this is people in the industry of business, entrepreneurs. They all plan, whether it's the marketing strategies, where to sell, who to actually target. We're talking about the TA, the targeted audience, whether it's a service or goods that you're selling. you must plan. Either it's the marketing strategies that you'll use, or anything that will go into production. That is planning in general, and basically it's all about the business side of it. And so also the planning of operation, and basically it's said to be the key or the secret to success. Anytime you plan anything, it's the key to success. And that is not different from anyone who is actually planning to dive into agriculture. It's the same. When it comes to farming, you must prepare, you must plan ahead. All right? And the planning involves looking in all directions. Okay? And so definitely, as you're planning for farming, it's good to plan yourself. And I hope as a farmer you have included in your plan, in your business plan, in your farm plan, you have included on how to tackle pests, because pests will be there. So how do you tackle the pest? And so the European Union, together with East African Community, have come up with a plan. They've come up with actually a campaign dubbed Market Access Upgrade Program, and that is MACAP. MACAP, it's dubbed Market Access Upgrade Program, and this is definitely towards geared towards safe use of the pesticides. How to use the pesticides in the best way. And so last week we talked about the transportation, the purchasing of this pesticide, but today we are going to be pushing or giving you details on how to or to handle this pesticide in a proper way, or proper handling of the pesticides. And some things that you need to note, 3 key things in as you undertake or handle these pesticides. The 3 key things that you need to understand is always wear personal protective equipments. That's the PPEs. They don't just apply when it comes to actually handling COVID-19. It's all about also applies when handling pesticides. So the personal protective equipments when handling the pesticides, that's a must. That's key. And also use the correct dosage and volume of the pesticides. Right? It's very, very important to use the correct dose and volume of the pesticides. And also the last thing, and it's not the least thing, it's just the last according to the list, observe spray intervals as indicated on the product label. And all this will be easy, especially the second point and the third point will be easier if you only follow #SomaLabel. When ukisoma label, you'll get to understand the correct dose, the volume of the pesticides, and the intervals that you're supposed to take when doing the spraying. And so this short video will actually help you to understand more when you're talking about the SomaLabel campaign and how to properly handle the pesticides. So that's a short video just to elaborate and deliver more on the proper handling of pesticides. Remember, this campaign has been brought to you by the European Union together with East African Community and pushed by the Ministry of Trade, Industrialization and Enterprise Development. So it's good, use the #SomaLabel. Anytime you go to purchase these pesticides, remember to actually SomaLabel before you actually handle or even open these pesticides. And I hope as you're doing your farm planning, you have included pesticides in your plan, because you will need it. At one point, you will need to use these pesticides, but not just use it the way you want, or the way without actually getting to know the basics or the very important key details that you need to understand before you actually handle or purchase and also transport. This is a message or a campaign that we'll be doing round in all our 3 key shows, that is the breakfast show, the mid-morning show, and right here on the Farm Drive. And so back to our topic today, talking about farm planning, the importance. What are the steps? What do you need to understand when it comes to farm planning? All right, and it's good to note, or just to start with the basics, what is farm planning? All right, and so this is a process to allocate the scarce resources. Remember, you've said the scarce resources is actually the mother of farm planning. The small resources that you have there, you just work with what you have. And so it's allocation of the scarce resources of the farm to organize the farm production in such a way as to increase the resources, use efficiency and the income of the farmer. So it's not about how many resources you have. It's about how well are you using, or how efficient are you using the resources that you have, whether scarce, and it's the best resources to use when they are scarce. How efficient do you use? How efficiently do you use, the resources that are there for you? And so the other way you can coin farm planning is the process of deciding in the present, right here, what to do in the future about the best combination of crops, livestock to be raised through the rationing of the resources that you have. So when you plan, remember, you're not planning for now, you're planning for the future. And last week we actually talked about using crop rotation as the best way to actually make your soil quality become better. And so when you have your land, you know what to actually rotate this your crops. So when you're planning, you're not planning for the present. It's more of planning for the future, and how the resources that you have right now will help you get to the future, or will help you in future, so that you grow as a farmer and definitely grow your profits. So what do I have right now? It's more of seeing the glass half full, not half empty. It's what you have. Don't lament on what you don't have. It's what you have. You definitely use it for the future. Right? So the only way that will happen is making sure that you're using, you have your plan ready. You have your plan ready, and not just ready. You've prepared it in a very, very good way. And also the third way you can coin farm planning is it's a process of choice making, or choosing from among competitive alternatives. All right. It's concerned with various adjustments the farmer makes in the existing organization with the purpose of making the most profitable use of the scarce resources. So definitely here it's all about a choice, because you have so many alternatives you can choose from. So what works for you? What makes your boat float? That's what we'll work with. Even if it's a scarce resource you have, but it actually works better for you, that's what you'll go with. All right. If probably you're using a certain irrigation scheme, okay, and not all will work for you, but what actually works for you, whether it's drip, whether it's manually doing it, whatever works for you. If it's a scarce, you don't really have the money or the economic power to actually settle in or bring in drips or do drip irrigation. Whatever you have, as long as the main aim is to make sure that the crops are growing in a very good way and you're making your profits as a farmer, you're bringing the best quality and the best yields in the market. Whatever makes your boat float, just do it. So it's choosing from the very many choices you have to make, or the alternatives you have to make. You have to make the best decision that really works for you. This is not where you copy and paste or cut and paste from what you've seen your friends do, and then you do it again for yourself. It's what actually works for you. Whatever works for you, you go with it. All right? And so scarcity of resources, as you have said, is the mother of farm planning. So the fact that scarcity makes it necessary for the farmer to make most of what for example, you have, in the efficient utilization of what they have. Farmers can make optimum utilization, keyword there is optimum. Optimum utilization of a scarce or the scarce product or resources they have, or scarce productive resources they have in their disposal. And so the farm planning, of course, it's how you plan it, whether you'll do it annually, whether you'll do it long range. You can decide you'll do your farm plan in 10 years time, or probably you'll do it after every crop, because probably you're thinking of the crop rotation. You have your avocados there, you have your onions, you have your tomatoes there. So probably you can decide to do it with the time after harvesting, after getting your yields, so that you can get to know where you went wrong, or probably that crop was not doing well in a particular section. You need to change. So it's how you do it, annually, long range, depending on the piece of land that you have. So it's up to you as a farmer. Remember again, it's not about copying and pasting from what you've seen your friends do. Again, even if you have almost the same piece of land in terms of size, remember, you may not be having the same quality type of soil, and also not the same pH level as your soil. So it's all about you as a person, what works for you. For example, what you may be recommended by a friend or see a friend do may not be working for you. For them, they're coming from a very, very wet place, but you are from a dry place. So some things may not work for you. Okay? So it's all about what you have, the scarce resources you have. What are you doing with them? How efficient are you using those scarce resources? All right? So it's not about the number of resources that you have. It's about the efficiency of the resources, or how you're utilizing them. Remember, it's optimum utilization to the maximum of what you have. And so you may be asking yourself, why should I have a farm plan? Why should I be into farm planning? Siniingie tu kwa shamba and just do it, and just live a day at a time. But these are some of the importances, or why it's important to have a farm plan ready before you actually transition or get into farming. So one, it enables the farmer, you as a farmer, to achieve your objective in relation to your farm, your family, and in a more organized way. All right? So remember, when you're doing this plan, you have a goal at the end. You have objectives that you have put ready, or they are ready to be achieved. So the only way you're going to achieve is having that farm plan. How are you going to track your journey? If you have set goals, you know where you're going to. You have a roadmap. You know, these are the objectives that I'm going to achieve, and these are the people that are going to help me achieve these objectives. So that's how. That's one important way. That's one important point as to why you should have a farm plan. It's very key, because it will lead you, when you're having that roadmap, to have your objectives being in place, making sure that you have actually realized all these objectives and you're hitting them in the right way. And it's not just the journey, it's the people around you. You're talking about family, the laborers that are around you. All this must be in line with the objectives that are supposed to be met. All right? So that's one importance of having that farm plan. Second, farm planning enables a careful examination of the existing resources and their best allocation. All right? When you have this farm plan, you know drip irrigation will work for me. I know they have recommended this kind of irrigation system, but you know what? For me, this is what I only have, drip. So how best can I allocate it to work for me efficiently? The only way you'll understand that or get to know this is when you actually have a farm plan. You do a proper examination of what will work for me, and how will I bring this out in the best way in terms of allocation. So the only way this will come out is have a farm plan to get to understand how will it enable me get the best from what I have. Remember, you're talking about the scarce resources that you have as a farmer. All right. Third point, it helps farmers to make decisions in relations to selection of crops under different hectares, under different crops, and the kind and number of livestock to be maintained. This is where we're talking about the crop rotation. You'll get to understand how you'll subdivide your farm so that you are able to do the crop rotation. What number of livestock will I have in my farm? Is it even necessary to have the livestock in my farm? So when you have to do all this, you'll not do guesswork when you're in the middle of the journey. All right? When you're in the middle of doing your farming, that's not when you realize, yes, I can bring goats, I can bring the cow to give me a manure, or all this. You are able to plan ahead. Remember, it's not for the present only, it's also for the future, to give you the best results at the end of the day. So it will help you make that decision. Do I need cows? Do I need livestock to give me manure directly? And if so, if I need the livestock, how am I going to do it? Where will I keep this livestock? How will you make sure that you don't have waste going to waste? All right? This manure is going to the farm. And then what is the product at the end? So when you get the right reasons as to why you should have this livestock in your farm and the number, and actually this will help you get to get the exact number that you can have. And this will help you as a farmer not regret, mbona niliweka hizi ng'ombe hapa, mbona nilileta mbuzi. You will not have that as you're doing your farming or as you're keeping your livestock. You are very intentional on what you're doing as a farmer. You know why you brought the livestock, why you subdivided your land the way it is, why you're doing the crop rotation. It's not guesswork, but it's something that you know. And so the fourth point is it helps the farmer to identify the input and the credit needs. All right? What do I need? What are the inputs? Okay? What is needed as I continue this journey of farming? What at the on my end? What is my input? What am I supposed to put in? All right? What is needed for this farming to be successful? Do I need laborers? Do I need to have a business plan as I'm doing my transition? Remember last week we talked about the transition of your farm into a business. What actually do you need? These are not things that you sort out after you've already started your journey as a farmer. These are things you need before. It's better to do it. Yes, you can do it definitely when you're at the center of it. If you're watching and you're an experienced farmer and you never did this, now you know where you went wrong as a farmer. You can retrace back and start afresh by making sure that you have made all these things possible. That is making sure that you have identified what the inputs that you need, so that you make you become a better farmer, a farmer that has a plan or has a farm plan. Because at the end, we don't want to have going home with L's or the losses. We need to be that farmer who has a plan and a fallback plan. You know the reason as to why this happened. You probably saw it coming. At times, let the losses that we have be out of nature. You know, and even if it's out of nature, you know you have a fallback plan, right? Itakupata na shock. And also, before we take a short break, the fifth point, it helps in estimating future cost and returns. You know, when you have a farm plan ready, you know, this is what I'm going to get from investing in, for example, say avocados. You've decided you're going to have avocados in your farm. So what is the future cost? How does the market look like? This is where you go deep into the research and get to understand how the market looks like, how if we are going for the local market, are you targeting the local market? Are you into the export business? What do you want to focus on? And what are the returns? This is my input. Remember the fourth point, you've talked about the input. This is how much I've put in this agribusiness. So what are the returns? If the returns don't make sense to you, then I think you need to rethink about it as you're doing your farm plan. And this is where now the business plan comes in. Do it well. Piga hesabu, because numbers don't lie. When the returns don't make sense to you, then you don't need so much convincing to tell you that in real sense it might not actually make sense for you. So it's good to have the numbers ready, get to know what are the future costs when I start this business, the agribusiness of avocado farming. What is the cost? Initial cost, what's the market cost, and what are the returns? What's in there for me as a farmer? Because at the end, you're not just farming to just sell and have no profits. And that's why we at Farmers Media, we're all about three things: connect, learn, and grow. And how, talking about the growth, how are you growing? You as a farmer, you have the experience, you're becoming, you're bringing the best version of yourself as a farmer. And at the end, are you having your profits? Especially if you're doing farming for profits, or farming as a business, not just as a hobby or for home consumption. You're doing it as a business. So when you come back after the break, we'll be talking about the steps that you need to follow while preparing or when you get into prepare your farm plan. And remember, you can connect with us on all our social media platforms. That on Facebook, we are live at Farmers, Twitter at Farmers, and definitely also on YouTube, we are live at Farmers Media. We'll be right back after this short break.
Drip irrigation is a type of micro-irrigation system, or sometimes called trickle irrigation, that has potential to save water and nutrients by allowing water to drip slowly to the roots of plants, either from above the soil surface or buried below the surface from a system of small diameter plastic pipes fitted with outlets called emitters or drippers. The emitters slowly drip water into the soil at the root zone, therefore moisture levels are kept at optimum range, thus improving plant productivity. You can grow different crops using drip irrigation, be it tomatoes, spinach, skuma wiki, beetroots, celery, and many more crops will thrive using drip irrigation method. Drip irrigation is especially beneficial as it provides better plant health, less waste, reduced risk of diseases, money saving, weed control, and saves time. Drip irrigation is the most efficient water and nutrient delivery system for growing crops. Beetroot is a highly nutritious root vegetable. The beetroot is the top proportion of a beet plant. It is one of the many varieties of the genus Beta vulgaris, all of which are mostly grown for their edible taproots and leaves. Beetroot is a root crop that takes approximately 3 to 4 months to mature. Beetroot is a fairly easy crop to grow as long as the soil is well cultivated prior to planting. Beetroots do not enjoy wet, boggy or shady soils. Beetroot can be sown in trays and transplanted when the seedlings have 2 true leaves. Plant in full sun, space seedlings 10 to 15 centimeters apart, and rows 20 centimeters to 30 centimeters apart so they have room to grow. Beetroots are also ideal for containers or raised beds. Beetroots will happily thrive in small areas as long as there's at least 20 centimeters depth of soil. Beetroot has been used not only for food but also for treatment for numerous conditions. Melon is a trailing vine in the gourd family. The word melon can refer to either the plant or specifically to the fruit. Watermelon is a type of melon that is sweet and refreshing fruit. Watermelons can either be grown on home gardens for small-scale farmers or large-scale depending on the market demand. You can either transplant or plant watermelon seeds directly. For best performance, plant watermelons in hot, sunny locations with loose, fertile, well-drained soil that is rich in organic matter. It is best to plant watermelons on raised rows and ensure that the soil pH is between 6.0 to 6.8. On average, it takes around 3 months for a watermelon to grow from seed to mature fruit, with smaller varieties having shorter growing times than larger varieties of watermelon. Watermelon growing, if done rationally and on a scalable basis, can be a good source of income.
It's exactly 20 minutes past 4 p.m. right here on our Farmers Media. This is the Farm Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibe, and definitely we are always about connect, learn, and grow. And this is the home where we tell the story of an African farmer in the best way possible. And I believe you're continuing to have a conversation with us on all our social media platforms. Remember, we are live on our Facebook page, that is Farmers, and definitely on our YouTube page, that is Farmers Media. So continue to connect with us on those social media platforms. And I don't know how you've actually arranged yourself. Ama umejipangaje? That was so much of a direct translation. Umejipangaje with the weather? And definitely I'm here to give you the updates in the next 24 hours in these specific regions. That is Nairobi. This is how the weather will be looking at, like in the next 24 hours. It will be a bit cloudy with the sunny intervals and a maximum of 24 degrees Celsius and a minimum of 14 degrees Celsius. Watu wa Mombasa, it will be a bit rainy and sunny with intervals. Takuwa tu zina change. Either will be a bit rainy and sunny at the same time. Zitakuwa zina interchange, with the temperatures being a maximum of 28 degrees Celsius and a minimum of 22. Watu wa Kisumu City, tomorrow you'll be experiencing very very good sun, and kama uko huko vacation utakuwa unajibamba because the temperatures will be about 29 degrees Celsius and a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius. Watu wa home of champions, that is Eldoret, tomorrow we'll be having rain and sunny intervals and temperatures of 23 degrees Celsius and a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius. Watu are the newest the city in the country, that is Nakuru, Nax Vegas. Tomorrow will be sunny, so kesho usikuwe overdressed if you're in that part of this country, because the temperatures will be 25 degrees Celsius and a minimum of 14. Leo tufanye moja mpya na watu wa Kitale. Watu wa Kitale, kesho kutawaka jua, because and the temperatures will be maximum of 25 degrees and a minimum of 13 degrees. So chipange mapema. And as the Kenya Met Department has actually advised, remember to continue harvesting rainwater for future use. So kama kwenyu kesho mtakuwa mna experience the rains, follow what the Kenya Met Department has said. Just harvest that water for future use. Junajua utaitumia mahali. Na kama umejipanga vilivyo, as you're talking about farm plan, remember today is Farm Plan Monday. Kama umejipanga with the weather tomorrow, I've given you tips and the update of how it will look like. But at the same time, kwa ile mpango wako wa farm plan, you also need to include safe use of pesticides. That one is a must, because pests will be there in your farm. All right? So as you are actually getting to understand or put in place or in motion the planning of a safe use of pesticides, ama pesticides umeweka kwa mpango wako, it's good to understand how do you actually handle these pesticides in a proper way. All right? So the hashtag being Soma Label, and this is a campaign dubbed Markup, that is Market Access Upgrade Program. It's brought to you by European Union and definitely East African Community, pushed or boosted by the Ministry of Trade, Industrialization and Enterprise Development. And in the section of proper handling of the pesticides, one, they have talked about always wear personal protective equipment, that is the PPEs. Remember tumesema hiyo sio kwa COVID pekee, PPEs applies even when you're handling the pesticides, always. So always have the PPEs in place. Secondly, they've talked about use the correct dose and volume of the pesticides. All right? And thirdly, they have talked about observe spray intervals as indicated on product labels. So the last 2 points will actually indicate on the purchasing side. Right? Because hii yote lazima ufanye nini? Hashtag Soma Label. Ukisoma label, you'll get to understand the correct dose, the volume of the pesticides that you're supposed to use, the spray intervals that you're supposed to have as you are spraying. Zote ziko labeled on the pesticides. So hashtag Soma Label lazima ikue pale. So remember, this is a message that has been brought to you by the European Union and together with or in conjunction with East African Community and definitely the Ministry of Trade, Industrialization and Enterprise Program, right, or Development. So this campaign is dubbed Market Access Upgrade Program, and it's all about safe use of pesticides. Remember, this is a campaign that will be bringing all around the clock on our 3 shows, our main 3 shows, that is the breakfast show, the mid-morning show, and definitely right here on the Farm Drive. Okay, and so to our conversation today, we are talking about farm plan. Remember, the scarcity is the mother of farm planning. So if you don't utilize well the scarcity or the scarce resource that you have, then you're failing. You're actually planning to fail when it comes to farming. So the steps that you're supposed to include as you're doing your farming. All right, the first step, main step, is setting goals. All right, and setting goals, it's all about having your vision for the future of your farm, how your farm enterprise will provide the income. So this is about preparing the farm, recording the history of the farm, making sure that you have that in place, and also planning human labor requirement when it's actually put in place. The second main step that you're supposed to have is inventory and assessment. All right, when you have inventory and assessment, this is all about to identify the problems with the conditions of some of your important assets. The assets you're talking about, zile vitu konazo kwa shamba, all these things that you have in we're talking about planning the land use and the soil conservation practices that you're supposed to be having. It's all about to improve the quality of using the scarce resource that you have in your farm. Third main step that we'll be talking about today is action plan. This is what do you have next after you've done your inventory and all. So it's to identify and evaluate management alternatives and develop what do you develop? The implementation of the action plan that you have. So it's more of having the evaluation plan, management plan in action, and also develop the implementation or how to implement that action plan. And the fourth one is a monitoring progress. So what is included in the monitoring progress is evaluate how the plan is working and make minor corrections and replacement. Or is it replacement? You have it on the screen. Yeah, so that's all about the monitoring progress that you're supposed to be having. So these are the 4 main steps that you're supposed to be having as you are doing your planning or your farm plan. All right, and so tackling the first one, that's setting goals. The first thing first, prepare the farm map. All right, just know shamba langu linafika wapi, how many acres do I have, how am I going to subdivide, imefika mwisho wapi, ni wapi productive, ni wapi kuna mchanga mzuri. Because already you'll have done your soil testing. Definitely, if you have not done, you know what to do. You can contact our number, that is 0700293031. I believe it's running on your screen. You can contact us. Kama shida ya kwanza uko nayo ni soil testing. Remember, this one is non-negotiable. You can't this is not something we can have you can argue about. You must do your soil testing. So if you don't know how to go about that, the number is on your screen, or you can contact us on our social media platforms. We are ready to help you when it comes to soil testing. And so as you're doing all these preparations, know the shape inatoshana aje. If it's fencing you need to do it. If it's the irrigation channels you need to set up or get to know where to channel them, fanya hivyo. So the first thing, even when you're setting your goals, is to have the preparation of the farm map. Have the map of your farm in place. All right. The second thing, record the history of the farm. This includes to obtain the information pertaining the utilization of the resources and the efficiency. All right. Jua ni nini uko nacho, the resources that you have, whether it's the drip, whether ni workers uko nao, the resources that you have around. If it's a tractor that you need, it's coming kuplow, what was done before. Kama umenunua ilo shamba, what was done before? What resources did they have? If it's yours, probably being passed on generations, get to know what are the resources that are always constant in that farm, so that you're able to move ahead, to forge ahead. So what were the crops, crop rotation followed previously? That is, we're talking about the base on the basis of information planning. So get to know, as you have said, if you bought this land and they were practicing crop rotation, what crops were they having in that farm? What was working for them? What resources were they using if these things were actually bearing fruits? What were they using? And what can you change? What gap can you come in to fill? And also, in respect of the crops that you have or that's supposed to be grown, crop rotation is to be followed. The requirements of credits along with their sources can be possible. So when you get to understand what kind of crop rotations they were doing, then you're good to go. You know this one worked for them. They did onions here, they did tomatoes there, they did avocado here, they did whatever, potatoes here. This is what worked for them. And it worked because of 1, 2, 3 things. Is it something that I can actually include in my plan? Because now the farm is yours. What resources did they have? Were they too scarce? Can I add something? Can I remove something? Too much resources? What are you going to have as a scarce resource? So those are some of the things that you need to tackle when you're setting all these goals. Remember, it's all about recording. It's more of having that history of that farm, getting to know what was doing well, which crop was doing well in this kind of farm, or when I subdivide, what crop will do well in what part or section of that subdivision you've done in that land. Third one, very important, okay? Planning human labor requirements. Remember, you're not just alone. Probably you have a vast land or farm. You need help. I remember when you talked about help or the human labor requirements, you need to have your workers having the basic knowledge when it comes to farming. These are requirements that you're supposed to have. So, as you have in your calendar of farm operations, remember to prepare a human labor requirements determined from different months, okay? And also a labor schedule should be developed to guide a farmer, or you as a farmer, to appraise the amount of labor needed in relations to the availability. Remember, not every step of farming that needs so many laborers. Okay, if it's harvesting, what number of laborers should I have? When it comes to planting, watering, transplanting, in every step, you can't have the same or similar number of laborers. So when you have your scheduled or the schedule in place and your plan in place, your farm plan in place, you'll get to understand how many laborers do I need when it comes to doing all this. How many are supposed to be needed when it comes to tilling the land, planting, transplanting, watering, just looking at it, scouting, and what have you. And at the end, harvesting and also taking to the market. How many laborers do I need? So when you have that in place, you don't be confused, knowing, oh, now we have a shortage or we have too much, and that will help you actually budget. When it comes to harvesting, I need X number of laborers, and each is supposed to receive Y amount of money, so that is in place. Because they can't just work in your farm and unaanza kuwa na madeni. This is kind of tiresome, right? So you need to you need to have that planned ahead before you actually execute. So I'll be harvesting in the next 4 months. So before the 4th month actually come to an end, you will have the money put in place, so that usicheleweshe mtu yote. And remember, it's all about building the bridges. Don't burn the bridges, because ukiwachelewesha sahi, you need to harvest next time, and so will they be available? All right. So whatever you do, you always just be kind and be generous, and just don't burn the bridges when it comes to the laborers, especially that. And also it's very, very good to know if I'm having the X number of laborers when it comes to planting, then do they all have the basic knowledge when it comes to planting? Do they know what they need to do when or what is needed of them when they get to that farm? When it comes to harvesting, market, Do they have the basic knowledge or the requirements, general knowledge or the basic knowledge when it comes to harvesting, what is needed when it comes to harvesting, and doing all these things when it comes to the stages of planting, of actually farming, what is needed of them, if it's harvesting, if it's taking to the market, if it's planting, transplanting, doing the watering, scouting, and all these things. Do they have the basic knowledge of where you have actually placed them? And the last point when it comes to that, before we get deep into the action plan and monitoring progress, we're talking about planning the land use and soil conservation practices. And simply, this is when when you're planning the crop scheme. Remember, you'll be having the cropping scheme, and the importance should be given to soil conservation. All right. And on Friday, when we had our expert in studio, we talked about how you can conserve your soil, how you can improve your quality, the quality of the soil that you have, and therefore purposely crops and crop rotation is needed to be introduced. You need to introduce that in your plan. Well, this will enhance soil conservation. So it's very, very key, okay, to have crop rotation in your plan. Don't just have one crop that you'll have for the rest of the life that you'll have with that farm. All right, usipande tu crop moja. Have the crop rotation, and this will actually enhance the soil conservation and the quality of your soil. So leo kipanda hii, try this one. You can subdivide however you feel like, whatever works for you. Remember, we are working with the scarce resources. So the small resources that you have, just use them efficiently. All right? And this is very key, to have soil conservation practices in your plan. Because if you have that same crop for so long, the quality of your soil itadidimia, itaenda chini. So it's good to have the soil conservation practices among your very many plans when included in your farm plan. All right? So it's very, very key. Even as you're trying to give, trying so many things, trying so many crops, be very intentional about it. Be very keen, even when you're doing the crop rotation. Because remember, the goal is to maintain or enhance soil conservation, and making sure that the soil quality or the quality of your soil doesn't go low. Always maintain that high quality of your soil. So when you come back, it's all about the action plan. What do you need to, what action plan do you have as you go to the last point or the last step, that is monitoring progress? So these two will be tackling that after we come back after this short break. And remember, we have the pan of the day in a few, but all that after this short break.
Farmers is the home of Africa Farmers Club, and by extension, African farmers. The whole idea behind Farmers is to transform the image of an African farmer from a producer into an entrepreneur, somebody who actually does not think about how to produce onions, but how much is going to be used to produce onions, and so that way then they can be able to transform their vision. They can be able to look at their farms as businesses, and they can be able to know when to engage with the market. What we have done is that we have developed a hub where farmers bring their information, bring their questions, their challenges, and other farmers are there to come out and help. Facebook has not just been instrumental. Facebook has been a working partner for myself as well. And Facebook has actually transformed the way we relate, an open platform. My background is in tech. and I know you cannot build a platform that can reach out to so many people. Initially, it was just a few farmers in 2 counties, Machakos County and Kajiado counties, but now it has transformed. We have a stronger membership from Nigeria and Zambia than even Kenya itself, And the reason behind this is the messages I get from different farmers across Africa. And then something interesting came to my mind, and I thought about using the camera. Every time I visited farmers, I would be able to post in the community, in the group, in my own profile, and just share the story of the farmer that I visited. And then I asked myself, why wouldn't I get this information, develop it in a way that other people can be able to benefit? If we go for a training, how do we capture that so that those who are not, the farmers who are not able to come for that training can still benefit? And hence the birth of a farmers media. Our mission as an organization is to help farmers, African farmers, to attain knowledge and grow profits.
Agriculture is the art and science of cultivating the soil, growing crops, and raising livestock. Agriculture provides most of the world's food and fabrics. It is not only a source of food and income, but also creates employment opportunities for many people in the world. Over 1 billion people worldwide work in agriculture, generating 2.4 trillion for the global economy. The global impact of farming on the environment is revealed that 40% of the Earth's land is now given over to agriculture. Agricultural development is one of the most powerful tools to end extreme poverty, boost shared prosperity, and feed a projected 9.7 billion people by 2050. And we, the Our Farmers Media, roll the carpet for you as we welcome you to our thrilling farm visits to different farmers that educate and inspire you in different sectors in agriculture. Catch us also on our shows on all our social media platforms as we bring you educative and informative information that will help you learn and guide you on your agriculture journey to success. Our farmers attain knowledge and grow profits. Celery is a marshland plant that comes from the same family as carrots and parsley. It has long, firm and pale green fibrous stalks and grows in bunches of approximately 8 to 10 centimeters. The stalks taper into leaves at the top. When planting celery, it's best to ensure that the soil is enriched with compost and with a soil pH of between 5.8 to 6.8. It is also important for celery to grow in moisture-retentive soil. Lastly but not the least, select a site that receives full and direct sunlight. Celery needs about 130 to 140 days to mature between seedling and harvest. Growing celery is generally considered to be an ultimate vegetable gardening challenge. It's easy to grow, but has very specific needs.
Yeah, 10 minutes to 5 p.m. right here on Farmers Media. This is the Farm Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibe, and definitely we are always about three things only: connect, learn, and grow. And at that time, katika kipindi cha Lala Salama, we have the pan of the day. And today's pan is just, today, Monday is just Monday. But yeah, let's have the pan of the day. And it's all about the dairy, watu ambao kwa wanatupatia maziwa. This pan is for you. So if your IQ is a bit, or your humor is okay, and you're into the dairy farming, today it's your day. And the pan of the day today is, what do you call a cow that fails to give milk? What do you call a cow that fails to give milk? And the answer is on your screen. It's called an udder failure. Yeah, I don't need to explain that, do I? No, I don't believe so. And so today's pan is when you asked, or when you have a cow at home, if you're into dairy farming, and it fails to give you milk, just call it an udder failure in terms of performance. Okay, that's the pan of the day. Remember, you can catch each and every Monday to Friday right here on the Farm Drive. Katika kipindi cha Lala Salama, we always have the pan of the day. It's all about agriculture, farm, livestock, whatever that belongs or is included in the agriculture sector. You can be having the pan of the day, and at least can be having some fun on the show. And remember, tomorrow we'll be introducing a new segment, so stay tuned tomorrow. We'll be having a new segment all about fun, but a bit educative. So it's all about edutainment. Yeah, you get the fun of it. It's the entertainment part, and definitely at the end you get to learn. All right, so keep remember to tune in tomorrow to have that segment. It's a new segment we shall be introducing tomorrow, but for now, let's continue with the last two steps that are actually involved in farm planning, and that is action plan and monitoring progress. This is very, very simple as we wind up this conversation. The importance of this process, that is the action plan, is actually to identify, evaluate, management alternatives, and to develop and implement an action plan. All right, so it's simple. You need to have types or different alternatives, a number of alternatives, very, very many alternatives that you need to have, so that you can actually identify and evaluate how your plan is going to work. Don't have one alternative. Don't have one solution. All right. So if it's crop rotation, and don't have one to actually probably have two crops. Have more than two, more than three. Try everything. Take calculated risks when it comes to action plan. All right. If you try something and you see it's not working, try something else. But all this, what you're calling quote unquote something else, is in the farm plan, under action plan. When this happens, or this fails to work as it's supposed to, what can I do? What is the alternative of this not working? All right. So in the action plan is more of what you need to improve. It's having that fallback. If this is the alternative that I'm supposed to be having and it fails to work, what is the next step that I'm supposed to be taking? All right. If you've tried having your family members kama laborers, uwapatia kazi pale so that you una reduce because of economy ni mbaya, so it's more of exposure. You're paying them through exposure. Your children, probably you have 4 children, you have a brother who also stays home. Hao wote unatumia kama laborers pale kwa shamba. What is the action plan that you have? What other alternative that you have? Do you have? Is it to give them some basic knowledge? Kama nile kidogo kuna vijana wawili, you've just trained them on how to plant and harvest. Do you go ahead and also give them some basic knowledge on how you can do other things, probably transplanting and getting to understand the market? All this must be included in the action plan. Have that in place. Kama huyu tumemfunza these things, we can actually enhance the education level. You can call it that for now, the education level, or the basic knowledge they have. You can improve that knowledge a step higher or a notch higher. All right. So all this is included in the action plan. Probably other ways, other means of adopting soil conservation. All this, and the practices such as reduced tillage that you need to have, the income possibilities of direct marketing. Probably you tried with a middleman, it's not working, it's not giving you the desirable profits. Can you try direct marketing? Can you try online marketing? Having to sell your goods and services through online. All right. You can use all social media platforms that you have to actually sell what you have, the products that you have. All this is included in the action plan. So don't be rigid. Be free. Be open to change. All right. I know it's hard, but the good thing about change, it's doable. Challenging, but very doable. Very easily doable. So don't be rigid with one action. Have alternatives. If, for example, 10 years ago, what was working is a middleman. You must have a middleman for your products to sell. For your whatever you take into the market, you must have a middleman. Right now, it's not the same. That it's not working for everything. Right now, we have social media. probably the only action you have is paying through cash. Right now you can pay through the phone, mobile banking, and etc. All that you have to you have to inculcate in your action plan that you have. Keep on revising your action plan, and it will actually help you as you move forward. Remember, it's all about the future. It's not the present, but you can use the present to actually focus or actually plan for the future. And the last but not least point is monitoring progress. And this is the final step after developing an action plan. Remember, you have an action plan in place that is compatible with the goals set by you and your people. Probably you're doing it with your family, your friends, your brothers, and everyone in your family. And the goal is to monitor the progress towards this goal. All right. So you need to always have this to keep on monitoring. Are we on the right path? The goals we have, we decided to set goals, X number of goals. Are we on the right path to achieve? If not, what is lagging us behind? So you need to keep on monitoring the progress. If you're doing it as a family, if you're doing it together with your spouse or together with your siblings, you need to monitor that progress. And it's very, very important. And the only way you can monitor is by keeping the records. Check your progress towards the goal you've set, so that you can see how your plan is working. If it's not working, then help each other, brainstorm, get to know what actually will work for us. All right. So monitoring your progress is very, very necessary, very important when you're actually getting to have your farm plan. All right. And lastly, if we can have that. That's a slide. Is it a slideshow of the steps that are needed when you're planning your farm plan? As we are winding up the show, and as you said, the first one is setting goals. That one is very important. Even as we're getting to the first step, we say the first step was setting the goals. Very important when you're setting the goals. And here it's where your vision for the future. You actually get the vision for your future and also for your farm. Because at the end process, or the end goal is get the profits. Secondly, we've talked about inventory and assessment. This is where you have to get to know the problems, get to tackle the gaps that are in, fill those gaps, get to understand what other people or what was the problem if you've bought that land, or if it's a land passed through generations. What resources did they have, and what actually was being used? That is under the second step, which is inventory and assessment. All right. And so the third step that we've talked about, action plan. Have an action plan. Have alternatives. All right. When you're moving forward, don't be rigid. We've talked about not being rigid. Be open to change, because it's more like more or less like this generation, or how the years are going by. It's more like a train, doesn't stop. Like isimama usipoipata. For example, if it's coming from here from at the river, usipoipata at the river, probably uishikie Syokimau ama tu kutae na uko railways. So you must be there with it. Right now, if you have not jumped into marketing your products online, I'm not saying you're late, but you need to do something. You need to change something. All right. And lastly, we've talked about monitoring progress. All these goals you have set, the inventories, the assignments, the assessment, everything that you have in place, the action plan, you need to monitor so that you can keep tabs on what you have done right or what you actually need to change. That is the only way you can have the best farm plan. That's the only way farm plan can work for you. And remember, you've talked about failing to plan is actually planning to fail. So this is that was a slideshow of the 4 stages or the 4 steps that you need to put in place so that you make sure that your farm plan looks good, doable, workable, and is efficient. All right. So you take a short break, but when we come back, it's all about Watu Mombasa Road. You need to get to understand what is happening in that road, because it's always a menace 24/7, Monday to Monday. But take home today is that scarcity of resources is the mother of farm planning. So the resources that you have, don't be confined to the resources that you have. You say you have very scarce resources. That should not confine you to working efficiently. The scarce resources that you have, how efficient are you using them? All right. So when you come back, it's all about Watu wa Mombasa Road and the traffic updates from around the CBD. It's just 5 minutes past 5 p.m. Right here. I don't know, it's just a Monday right here on our Farmers Media. This is the Farm Drive Show with me, Conrad Kibe, and we are at that point where we give the traffic updates. Definitely to start off with Watu wa Mombasa Road. And I understand that Nyayo, that roundabout around Nyayo, is just hell. Traffic is not moving, but just make sure to be on the lookout as they are doing the welding works and particles are falling down. So be very, very careful as you get near that Nyayo roundabout. You can see the traffic is not moving at all. Pale unaweza zima gari utoke nje uende ukule kitu na utarudi uendelee na safari. And definitely it's also happening around Mombasa Road, hapa tu karibu na Syokimau. That place you just need a lot of patience and a lot of just patience and grace to survive Mombasa Road. And that's no lie. So around Syokimau, that just along Mlolongo towards Syokimau, looking it's a mess, total mess. And also around Imara Daima, headed towards Nyayo roundabout, it's not looking so good. So if you're around that place, you just need to two things only: patience and also grace. Watu wa Southern Bypass, you are very safe today. You're looking good. You can go ahead. So if you're using that road, just make sure you're careful, because inaonekana iko just smooth. So make sure you maintain a very, very good kph. Definitely watu wa Langata Road kama kawaida, mahali ambako kuna sumbua ni hapo karibu na Wilson Airport. Hapo it's a total mess. And definitely I also understand watu wa Thika Road, there's something that is ongoing there, and that is the BRT tests. So you can tell us what is happening with the BRT test. Is it something that you can see it's working? So you can give your feedback there. So watu wa Thika Road, make sure that you understand that the BRT test is ongoing on that road, and you'll be lucky, as watu wa Mombasa Road are getting some grace and patience for them to survive on that road. For you people on Thika Road, you need to understand what is working with the BRT. And definitely kama kawaida, watu ni kama wamejua shortcut ya Thika Road, because Juja Road is not looking that very, very well along the Eastleigh Road. Ukitoka Eastleigh uende pale Juja Road, apakai vizuri sana. So make sure, as always, you're traveling, the three things that are needed as we try to avert this COVID-19. Make sure you wear your mask properly, right? Make sure you also sanitize. If you don't have a sanitizer, make good use of clean water and a soap, and definitely maintain that social distance well, as much as possible. All right, good. So make sure as you're traveling also maintain that safety. Let's have that patience on the road. Let's be good drivers. Let's be kind to one another. Kama ni kupashana njia, tafadhali tufanye hivyo, especially watu wa Mombasa. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation, and we always do it for you. All right, see you tomorrow at exactly 3 p.m. from me and my director Sarah. It's bye.